I'm about to tell you the one thing that changed my entire creative practice. It's not a technique, it's not a medium, it's a mindset shift about inspiration. That honestly sounds boring until you try it. And once you do, you'll never look at your blank canvas the same way again. What's up? I'm the Art Yogi, and I explore a space where art, presence, and personal growth meet. If you're waiting for inspiration to strike before you pick up your brush or your pen or step into your creative space, you might be waiting a very long time. The truth is, the muse doesn't come to those who wait. She comes to those who show up. If we're always sitting around waiting for some profound, monumental, totally original idea to strike, placing all our hope in the idea that a spirit-guided burst of inspiration will just land in our lap, we can end up disheartened, stuck in endless contemplation and never give ourselves a chance to actually make any art. Some artists only create when they feel physically moved to, like when inspiration arrives during some magical, opportune moment. And sure, that's a ripe time to create and make something awesome happen. But if it's the only way we're called to actually get to work and make art, it becomes way too easy to get distracted and slip out of practice, especially when life gets busy or overwhelming. The truth is, there's no real separation between practicing art and making art. Just like a doctor has a practice or a therapist has a practice, being an artist means showing up regularly to refine your craft. Even when there's no client, no commission, no audience, and especially between projects. This is something I've had to learn the hard way. When I take too much time off between portraits, it can feel like I've totally forgotten how to draw. And while coming back to the drawing board and making one new piece is usually enough to knock off the rust, that time could have been spent in the zone, being prolific, evolving your style, and growing past previous limitations, instead of just trying to get back to that sweet spot. I don't know. Please tell me I'm not the only one. Have you ever felt this way too? Because it's not just about missing a session here or there. When life gets full, work, the gym, relationships, or just staying afloat, it becomes harder not only to make art, but to stay sharp, to stay connected. And that's why showing up consistently matters. Not necessarily for perfection, but for momentum, for feeding the muse, and for protecting your rhythm. Because at the end of the day, inspiration is unreliable, but practice is not. Becoming randomly inspired is a natural repercussion of living life as a human here on this earth. But staying inspired, that's an art within itself. An art that requires wisdom and discipline. So let's talk about what that kind of discipline actually requires. Discipline isn't always about rigidity. There's this idea that it has to look like a strict schedule, daily practices at fixed times, everything happening in clean, repeatable cycles. But creativity doesn't work like that. Our bodies don't always function like machines. Our nervous systems respond to seasons, environments, hormones, even subtle emotional shifts. And the more I've honored that, the better I've been able to sustain a creative rhythm. So this kind of discipline isn't just about forcing productivity. It's about cultivating internal flexibility so that you can return again and again to your creative center, no matter what life throws at you. A particular challenge I've had to watch closely is obsession. Being obsessed or even just being highly motivated can sometimes help with productivity in the short term, But if I move from one project to the next without giving myself the time to actually live and enjoy life outside the studio, I risk burning out. The well of inspiration dries up, and that kind of depletion is hard to come back from. That's why I've learned that discipline also includes protecting time for joy, play, and recovery. For me, that looks like taking dance classes, playing music with friends, or going for long walks in nature. Whatever helps reinvigorate my spirit and reawaken the body. These things are an essential part of the practice. And on a deeper level, part of sustaining inspiration has meant learning to protect my energy, knowing when to push and when to rest, when to engage and when to step back. The fewer drains I have on my creative bandwidth, the more clarity I have for what actually matters. So when I say discipline, I don't mean rigidity, I mean sustainability. And that kind of discipline takes both strategy and courage. There's a common teaching in yoga. Just getting on your mat is already a form of success. Even if you only do one pose, that one pose can create the momentum and inspire you to do a full practice. And even if you don't go further, even if you only do one or two poses, that's still something. That's still energy moved, attention returned, and a promise kept to yourself. What matters isn't how long you stay, but how deeply you arrive. Even one breath, taken with presence, is a full practice. The same applies to art. When you engage with your practice, when you show up for even a few moments, something shifts, momentum builds, and the spark follows. As Picasso said, inspiration exists, but it has to find you working. In my attempts to stay inspired, I've learned it matters what kind of space I create in, physically and internally. When my environment invites curiosity instead of pressure, would I give myself permission to try, to fail, to surprise myself? It becomes easier to keep showing up. To sum it all up, inspiration isn't something you wait for, it's something you walk towards. And if you want to be more inspired, decide to be. Set up your space with care and attention because your environment influences the art you make. Redefine your relationship to discipline because real success is sustainable. It's about showing up while honoring the ebbs and flows of our lives and the creative cycles. So just show up to your craft and you'll often find the momentum to keep going. When inspiration does show up, and trust me, it will, you'll already be warmed up and ready to receive it. Also, I'm super curious, what helps you stay inspired? Drop it in the comments. I'd really love to hear from you. And I'm excited to keep finding my voice, build a rhythm, and grow here on this platform. So if this spoke to you, give it a like. And if you're called to support this journey, tap that subscribe button. I'd love to see you in the next one. Peace.